Now, there's another way to talk about this stuff, which I'm going to explain right now. So, this is, what we've talked about is what the chords are within the key, but not the function of them necessarily. So, if we go to the 5, basic music theory is going to tell us is going to go to 1. 5, 1. We hear that all the time in music. 5, 1. But that's a pretty boring chord progression. So, what usually happens is it extends out from there. And so now we always just use these numbers to talk about this stuff, and that's why it gets a little confusing, because we could be talking about our home key of C, but we could be talking about G now, because that's our 5. And so when we say a dominant 7 chord, you might think, okay, based on B, because that's the 7 of C, but dominant 7 is actually talking about the 7th scale degree of our 5, the dominant chord. So dominant kind of means 5, and 7 is now talking about that chord. So the 7th scale degree of G in the key of C, which is an F, natural. In the key of G, it would be an F sharp, but since we're talking about the dominant 7, it's that. So a 5-7 chord, or a dominant 7 chord. We're using the same numbers, and they are talking about the scale degree, but the more we talk about this, the more you will understand which we're talking about. Are we talking about the key of C, or are we talking about the chord that we're speaking about? So a 5 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 7th built on that, a dominant 7 chord. So every time you hear dominant 7, we're not talking about the 7th scale degree of our home key, we're talking about the 7th scale degree of the 5 chord. Okay? Now, that tells us where we're going. A dominant 7, definitely, probably, I guess we can't be super definite, probably is gonna go to 1. 5, 7 to 1. Dominant 7, again, we're talking about the 7 of the 5 to 1. Now we can go further out from there, and we will a lot in the Randy Newman tune. So I'm going to explain that a little bit more. So now if we said a 2, we would know it's D minor. And if I said major 2, you would know it's D major. But you wouldn't know anything about where we're coming from or where we're going. Okay? So we can change that based on context. So if I said 5 of 1, you would know we're talking about 1, home key of C, and the 5th scale degree is G. Now we don't say of 1 because unless we specify otherwise, we're talking about 1. So 5, 1 means 5 of 1 to 1. But you could say 5 of 5, which extends us out further. So 5 of 1 is G. Now let's pretend we're in the key of G. 5 of that is D with an F sharp. Okay? So 5 of 5 is a D major chord. And we know that since it's 5 of 5, we're probably going to 5. So it shows us the functionality of that. And remember, major 2 in the key of C is this D major chord, but it tells us nothing about where we're coming from or where we're going. 5 of 5, D7, we could say, G7, 5, 1. Okay? So these words show us where we're coming from, where we're going, and it's really important to know what we're talking about and when. So this should make us speak the same language, and so let's just do one more example, not going to C, but in the same key. So A minor is the relative minor of C, and what we mean by that is just using the exact same notes, so C major scale, all the white keys. If we start on the 6th scale degree, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's an A. And now if we play the same exact notes that are in the C major scale, but start on the A, it creates a natural minor scale. And again, this is the same thing about whole steps and half steps in the right order. This one creates a minor scale, a natural minor scale. So in any key major key starting on the 6th scale degree and playing all of the notes that are in that key, you create this minor scale. And so that's a 6. And we don't have to say minor 6 because we know that a 6 in any major key is minor chord. So 6. Now we could do 5 of 6. And so the 5th scale degree of A minor is E. And a dominant 7 for E. So we're pretending we're in the key of A major when we're talking about that. And that's a sound we've heard many, many times, right? So that's 5 of 6. Now you could do 5 of 5 of 6. So 5 of the 5 of 6. So 5 of 6 is E. And the 5 of that, here, 1, 5, is B. So that would sound like this. 5 of 5 of 6 to 5 of 6 to 6. Okay? Shows us where we're coming from and where we're going. And if we were talking about a 5 of 5 of 6 chord, which is this B major chord, how in the world would we talk about that in the key of C? Because if we remember, this was a diminished chord in the key of C, 2 minor thirds. And here we have a major third and a minor third on top of that, which is different because we've moved the first one, right? It's a completely different chord, and you would have to call it a major 7 in the key of C, which is so weird to see. You might see a minor, you might see a diminished, but a major. So 5 of 5 of 6, we know exactly where we are. If we say we're in the key of C, 6 is A minor, 5 of that is E, 5 of that is B. Oh look, a B. It doesn't seem so odd anymore when we're talking about the functionality of it. So let's pretend you know all of your scales and arpeggios in every key. Let's change it to F. 5 of 5 of 6 in the key of F, well I know 6 is D minor, 5 of that is A, 5 of that is E. 5 of 5 of 6. Which makes sense because that would be a major 7 in the key of F. So we can talk about it both ways. If we just want to get it out there and have everybody play the tune, I could just say, okay, you've got a friend in me. Okay, E flat, B flat, augmented, E flat. We can play the right notes in the chords, and I can, show you E flat, G, B flat. That makes an E flat chord. But it's much easier for me to just kind of show you the functionality of that and say 1, and then an augmented 5 to a 1. E flat, B flat, augmented, E flat. And so now, who cares what key it's in? 1, augmented 5, 1, right? You can transpose it much, much easier when you know the functionality and what's happening. You've got a friend in me, or A. Now, I gotta figure out. Okay, so you've got a friend in me. Any key you want, just by knowing the functionality of what's happening and how. And understanding your chords and arpeggios and triads and all of the stuff that I just sped through. So, I know you can't see my face. I'm looking at you, I promise. So if you found this to be really boring, I hope you're not still watching. If you found this to be informative, please comment and let me know what you loved about it, what you didn't like, if I went too fast, if I went too slow. If you think I went too fast, please write what you are confused about, and I will make a video about that, because the people who thought it was too slow, they just won't watch that video, and that's fine. This video is certainly not for everybody. If you thought it was too slow and you're still watching, make sure to watch the next video where I dive right into You've Got a Friend in Me, because that one it doesn't talk about any of this stuff, it just uses this and runs away with it by, really showing exactly what's happening, because he has implied harmony. Randy Newman writes with implied harmony. Like just with that, just 7 notes, we've already implied so much. We've implied with just that, but he doesn't play the chords. He lets your ears follow it and hear it if they want to hear it. So I can analyze, and I will analyze all of the chords that are implied, but it's such an awesome song because of it. So this is really important to know, but if you thought this was too slow and too, beginner for you, that one's gonna be for you. So make sure to watch that. But please comment if this was a good refresher course for those more advanced, if you want me to do more of them, if you want me to analyze songs that I've already done. I learn all these songs by ear, and so I can do these pretty easily by just sitting down at the piano and explaining what I hear and what I see in the chords. So make sure to comment whether you liked it or not, if it was too slow, if it's too fast, if it's perfect and you want more of them, and we will do more. So I hope this was fun, I hope this was informative, and I hope you didn't hate it. Alright, I'll see you next time for the actual tune. I don't know what I'm gonna title this, but I'm thinking it'll be a little clickbaity because you think it's gonna be the tune and it's just not, but...